I would like to start. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Maxim Akulshin, and I'm a software developer. I'm not economist and have nothing with marketing. I'm just software developer of new platform which is called Economic. I will tell you a few words about it later. And now I would like to, first of all, I would like to come back to history. 1897. Joseph Juran, do you know this name? Joseph Juran suggested the principle of factors parity. He named it after Vilfredo Pareto, another economist, Italian economist. Vilfredo Pareto actually never spoke in such terms. He said, Vilfredo Pareto just noticed that 80% of the land in Italy has owned by only 20% of the population. Now Pareto principle is well known all over the world. And using this principle, you can do almost anything. You can read newspapers, watch TV, lose weight, or even learn foreign languages. That's my case. However, economics, we are talking about economics, and it suffers most of the Pareto principle. It turned out that many things in economics, in our modern economics, can only be explained in terms of this principle. Of course, 80% is not mathematically accurate. And if it were, or we could build real mathematical models, and in that case, economic could very well become a sort of science. Maybe it can be placed next to physics, but not. Unfortunately, it's only a very beautiful and very approximate illustration for the main idea, the idea of the skewness, asymmetry that really exists. Do you know that 8 richest billionaires in the world richest billionaires in the world control the same wealth as the half of poorest global population, and that 80% of total wealth belongs to 1% of the global population. Of course you do. I'm rather sure that you know that. And that's why I really do not believe in many peer-to-peer projects. Especially I'm talking about lending projects. They all sound great. They're talking about blockchain revolution, new technologies, and so on. But do you know Salt project? I think Salt is it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But I can hardly imagine, for example, Warren Buffett signing up for Salt membership and issuing a $500 loan to some African farmer with terms by the end of this March. And another example, we're not talking about blockchain only. Uber. Uber is great. It's perfect service uniting millions of people all over the world. But for example, I personally don't know any of drivers that became a millionaire by doing the job. And Travis Kalanick, as far as I know, doing much better. That's why very difficult to imagine peer-to-peer or good peer-to-peer lending service in our economy. A lot of blockchain projects usually promote social relevance, and they promote social equality. But oftentimes they remain only marketing. That's only marketing message for us. And people are not equal. Sad but true, and no token can change that. People are not equal. I can only repeat, 80% of the total wealth belongs to 1% of the global's population. So is there anything about peer-to-peer? No. And speaking about this 1%, what are they up to? What do they do with the tremendous amount of money? They usually grow their own businesses by themselves, or they provide money for professionals, for banks, funds, and other institutional investors. Institutional investors are where the long and very difficult money path to end customer begins. This path goes rather through financial corporations, creating jobs and paying salaries and so on, or it goes through lending. Banks and funds lend to people, and thus establishing new markets and moving global economy forward. The emergence of new mortgage markets always drives growth in the industry. Just look at real estate industry or automotive industry. And as of now, we see the rising of new and growing industries, the market of crypto assets. That's why we're here. And it's not large yet. This market is not large yet. You cannot compare it to real estate or to automotive industry. I cannot compare, and I'm a software developer. There is nothing impossible for me, but I cannot. It's not really large, but it does not really matter in this case. What really matters is the growth and scalability. And we all can agree that crypto market has growth and scalability, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. And it's nice to work in a growing market. It's very nice, because you can make mistakes, you can make stupid things, you can do almost nothing, and the market will forgive you, and your business will be successful. We all here are conservatives and skepticals. We all in our projects are skeptical. For example, my partner, Alexey Smolyanov, is the owner of a commercial bank. 20 years of experience in this sphere. It's terrible. Bank owner, you know how they are. They are like foxes. They are very cautious, very cunning, and they using only proven methods. They are not ready for revolutions. And that's why we are not talking about inventing the wheel here, and we are not talking about inventing crypto communism. We just like to bring traditional banking services to cryptocurrency market. We would like to build transparent and simple system, not blockchain for the sake of blockchain. And the first service we are going to implement on our platform is lending service, lending backed by crypto assets. And the main tactical goal here is to bring institutional investors' funds to the customer market and secure them by reliable collateral. There will be no smart contracts between institutional investors and our platform. It will be just plain contracts, but there will be smart contracts between us and end users. And I think that scheme will work better than any other. Maybe someone will be skeptical when I was talking about securing the billionaires' funds by reliable collateral in reference to bitcoins and so on. That's not right. Some banks in Italy still accept handmade rounds of cheese as collateral, and I don't think that Bitcoin is worse than Parmesan. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Again, do we have any questions?